The Third Side of the Coin, brought to you by Excalibur Coaching and Consulting.
Welcome back to part 2 of episode 2, Enhancing Creativity to Live a Fulfilling Life. We ended up talking about how to truly start the creative process. One of the questions that my friend Brian had asked, can you show the steps to increase creativity? How does one build a creative base? So Tim, you started talking about it starting with learning how to breathe. Could you just demonstrate at least how to start?
Sure. So just as a lead up to that, the breath is the only thing that we can influence that happens only in the present moment. We cannot breathe for the past, nor can we breathe for the future. It happens in the present. So by focusing on the breath, you bring your mind into the present. It's a very practical way, and it is only in the present, now, 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 this moment, nothing is happening. That is the present moment. It's clear. And that's where creativity happens. So how do we do it very quickly? All you do is close your eyes, relax your shoulders, relax your hands, and you can just place your hands on your laps with the palms facing open. Open your chest up, relax the eyebrows, relax the center of your forehead, because we naturally like to squint sometimes or scrounge, and just relax your whole body. Allow your shoulders to drop from your shoulder, to drop easily. And then breathing through your nose and exhaling through your nose. So you breathe in and breathe out, and just relax the center of your forehead, because sometimes when you're drawing the breath in, you might scrounge your forehead. Just breathe in and breathe out. And you may slowly and gradually open your eyes. That is the easiest way and the fastest way. If you go to any mindfulness, meditation, stretching classes, at the end of they always bring you back to the breath to rest, because it takes you into that space where you're able to completely let yourself in the present moment, to be able to just be there 100%.
I remember the time when I discovered that I don't need to truly try hard to get into the meditation process when you first presented this very simple method without any complications. Sometimes, if you listen to the Western ways of doing yoga and meditation, it seems so complicated. But when you did that during our meeting, I believe it was in Miami, it just changed my entire world. I am feeling, even right now as I'm speaking, it took what, a minute, less than a minute, that we've just practiced this process of being in the present moment. It changes everything. You just need to consciously remember that you cannot address something that happened in the past, or you don't have control over the future. So thank you so much for demonstrating the simple technique.
And for our friends out there, it's meditation or any types of exercise or programs, whatever, it's a discipline. So you need to put time in for it to grow. It doesn't happen like that. It might happen as just a spike in your feelings, but then the problem with that is that you're forever chasing that feeling. And if you're forever chasing that feeling, what happens? You're not going to get into meditation. So, these are just small little tips that you need to find a teacher. And I'm not saying come to me, but you need to find a teacher to take you through meditation, because they have experience. It's like coming to Alex to get executive coaching. It's not that you can't do it yourself, but the fact that there is a specialist there that has been through it or has seen enough to be able to give you advice or direction That's what makes it different. So creativity equally needs someone to guide. I think if you just take your mind back to when you first did art class, like with what Brian is doing, uh, that was everyone loved it. I cannot remember anyone that didn't like art class in my school. Even even our class bully, they loved it, and it was a mess. I mean, it was a mess. I mean, mess meaning there was paint everywhere. I don't know why they allowed us to use paint, but everyone loved it because you could do what you wanted, but on paper or clay or whatever. It has that sense of satisfaction, or I hate to say achievement because achievement has a purpose, while art, it might have a purpose, but at the end of the day, it's sort of like, wow, that felt good.
Definitely fascinating. And I agree with you that finding the teacher who is the master of knowing how to potentially ask the right questions or potentially give you the right advice in the moment that you need. And you were that teacher to me when it came to really learning how to breathe again, after you activated the creative process through breathing. You talked about mind agility in our previous episode, and I believe that before we get to improving our mind agility and become more creative, we need to become more self-aware and recognize that our core beliefs are the most fundamental level of belief. They're global, they're rigid, and they're overgeneralized. A lot of times our thinking is overgeneralized. We think in black and white. We think that everybody is after us, or we think I need to be perfect to be successful, which the reality is it's not the truth. And automatic thoughts, the actual thoughts that and images that go through a person's mind on a daily basis are situation specific. And we need to recognize that. And it's really the most superficial level of cognition or thinking. Core beliefs really influence our attitudes, rules, and assumptions. And our minds are meaning making machines. And unless we pause and actually listen to ourselves, simply put, from the inside, so starting to breathe, starting to pay attention how our body reacts, we're continuing to react based on those core beliefs and those automatic thoughts that sometimes are simply going to fail us in shifting our meaning to the new ideas and possibilities. So just because somebody believes in something doesn't necessarily mean it's true. And the second point is changing your thinking so it is more reality based and useful can help you and me feel better and progress towards creating a more fulfilling life. Can we also maybe try something? Because after doing the meditation or breathing exercise, if somebody's mind does not accept meditation, and there's still a thought that's circling in your mind, sometimes they're just so persuasive, trying to convince us that we need to be anxious and worry. Just think about one of those thoughts. You don't have to tell me what they are, just acknowledge that, yes, I'm thinking of that circling thought that's bothering me, potentially not leaving me. You got it?
Yep.
Okay. So one way to do that, and this is one of the techniques that I use with a lot of my clients, is called thought policing. So one of the ways you can do it is to identify that specific thought and then put it to the test, asking specific questions. So let me ask you a few questions and respond to me, just keeping in mind that thought, okay? So right now, that thought is swirling through your mind. It's not leaving you alone. It's creating stress and anxiety. So Tim, what is the evidence for this thought?
my goodness. Not my goodness, but it's like none.
Okay.
Yeah, what's interesting is it brings the clarity of you're mixing up the consequences. I can't explain that. It's there's no direct cause, but you're inferring from other things that is the cause. Does that
Uh-huh.
make sense?
Uh-huh. Okay.
Yeah.
Well, as long as it makes sense to you.
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah. And then after you establish, like you said, and of course you can take longer than that, to think through and talk it through. It's always best to talk it with somebody, but you certainly can do it on your own. Then ask yourself, what is the evidence against it?
A lot.
Right. And again, we're trying not to get into the confidential point of your
Yes. Yes.
mind and
Yeah.
this thought, but question that, because it brings, and we're talking about the third side of the coin. There's always
Yes.
another side to
Yes.
the truth, to the evidence and such. Another type of question that you can follow up, if you can't necessarily determine that evidence, you can ask yourself, is this thought based on facts or on feelings? Then you can go and dive in even a bit deeper, and you can ask, is this thought black and white when reality is more complicated? And I think you actually started addressing that, Tim, right? When you said,
Yes.
yeah, there's more to it.
Yes. It's that's a very neat process.
It actually challenges you to start looking at it from a different perspective. You can ask yourself, could I be misinterpreting the evidence, or am I making any assumptions? Another way to shift, because sometimes when you start with questioning the facts and the evidence for a certain thought that is creating a lot of anxiety, is, just take another person's perspective too. Might other people have different interpretations of the same situation, and what are they? Because you want to become your best friend. So what would you tell your best friend if they had that same thought? So you want to, in a way, bring other people into that thinking process if it's really stressing you out so much. And there are many other questions that you can do, and I'll actually post those. They're called Socratic questions, and they're really opening up your view on how you can challenge your beliefs, those core beliefs, because
Yes.
some of those beliefs from the time you were 7 years old are no longer true.
Yes, it's yes. I'll be interested when you post it. Those Socratic questions, very useful.
Thank you. It takes commitment, just like with
Yes.
our breathing exercises. It's commitment. Is there anything else you want to add as far as the creativity? Any word of wisdom?
Yeah, creativity is the antithesis or the opposite of fear. So when you have fear, and you talked about fear at the beginning of part 1, the fear will prevent you from becoming creative.
You don't have to have much time in your day to really activate that process.
Correct. So you activate with breathing, so your mind settles, and then adopt or adapt your Socratic questioning to then start peeling the fear away, the perceived fear away from the situation. And once it's peeled away, you see it for what it really is, and then you get creative on finding the solutions by being able to observe it and then say, I can actually go around it this way.
Fantastic. Well, Tim, I know it's super late where you are, so thank you so much, as always, for joining me for this wonderful discussion. I hope you all enjoyed it, and I look forward to our next episode. So if you enjoyed our conversation, please like and comment below, and watch our episodes on excaliburcoaching.com. Thank you so much.
Thanks, Alex.
So long.